Get strong.
Want to welcome you to Spiritual Fine Arts. This is just where we'll have a conversation. We will be able to hopefully go back and forth, talk about some things about your daily life. We want to talk about things that you can wake up tomorrow and use, wake up tomorrow and be able to apply or think about. I want you to be able, if you want to, and I encourage it, I would love it, to be able to dialogue with me. I don't even think that you should always agree with everything that is said. That is not him. You have your own mind, you have your experiences, but together, if we can share that, then we are able to have a rich conversation because, believe it or not, no one has all the answers. No one has all of the remedies in the world. So, want you to be able to feel free to have dialogue, to say, hey, talk more about that, or I see it this way, or I see it that way. That's your human right. Don't let anybody take your voice from you. Don't let anybody silence who you are. Even if you learn from me, even if you learn that no, maybe my perspective needed to be tweaked, or I have never thought about it in a different way, it is good for you to be able to get your understanding. In fact, it's scripture to say, in all of your getting, get an understanding. So if you don't understand something, you have feel free to dialogue. Let's talk about it. But today we want to talk about first things first. We want to talk about how every day we're walking a journey using what we came to earth with and for. What we came to earth with and for. So all of your giftings, all of your passions, all of those things that you do excellent, all of those things that you have on your mind when you go to sleep. You can't, you find yourself, even when you say, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not, you seem to go back to it because that is who you are. That is your essence. That is what actually gives you joy, peace, and satisfaction. It makes you feel complete. But a lot of times we have learned and have been taught to suppress those things, learned to ignore those things, or sometimes just not in the knowledge of it. So I want to start off with a story about how I found out who I was after being in church all my life. And I'm not talking about a preacher. But well, let's just talk about the story. So I was born and raised in church, as anybody who knows me know, church child, born in the pew. Was at church every half of every night of the week for most of my childhood. And when I say half, it has to be more than half. I was there at least 5 out of the 7 days a week. But understand that had read the Bible over and over, had read the Bible completely back and forth 5 or 6 times. Now, I want you to be able to like and share this, and because we're going to talk about this, how sometimes we, out of our own ignorance or just not knowing, don't know who we are, and how that causes such a tension between why things happen to us or how things happen to you. Have you ever been in a place, and I'm coming back to my story, been in a place where you just kind of look around like, I don't even know how I got here. I don't even know why these things keep happening to me. And sometimes you're in a cycle, and sometimes you're not going to come out of that cycle until you learn what it is in that cycle, until you get and glean and gather what life is what you're trying to be taught, what's trying to be instilled in you, what's trying to open your eyes to. So sometimes you're going around, hey Martha, going around in a circle, in a syndrome, and you keep attracting the same type of people, and you keep on going through the same situations, and you don't understand why. Well, it's because there's something about it that you've not learned, and a lot of that is in your giftings and in who you are and why you're here. And once you've accepted that and know that, then you go further. Then you can get out of that cycle and go to at least see a new problem, see a new situation arise. So I was literally, hey Maria, hey Peaches, Martha Hawkins, I miss you too, Maria. So I was literally going through life, humdrum, my own thing. Now growing up, the church did not teach a lot on gifts. They said your gifts and calling will make room for you. That's really the extent of it. And then maybe you're a preacher, a pastor, evangelist for women, because you know that they were male chauvinists, most of them. So they had all these different segments and sections. And so I didn't really know about a lot of giftings. I've heard of them, like the gift of prophecy, some of those standout gifts of healing, gifts of faith, those nine, divine nine, as I call them. Hey, Edie, J. Lamar. So as I'm going through life, still in church, loving God, serving God, blah, 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 the whole thing around, and then I left the church when I got in college, came back to the church out of college, and began, just my whole journey again. And so literally as a child, I had all these different things happening. But my mother, who also is very heavily gifted, did not treat us differently. Hey, Marika, didn't treat us different. She didn't I had no idea when I was in church, and things would happen. I would see stuff, and I had all these special gifts and all this other stuff. But I thought they were normal because no one taught me different. No one said anything different. So I thought that because I professed salvation, was saved, and all of that, that those other grown folk who said the same thing, they saw the same thing and had the same journey because I just didn't know better. So here I am, growing up thinking that everybody talks to God, God shows them things and they can see these type of things just as I can. And so it wasn't until I left the church, came back, and then all of a sudden, hey, Dana, I left the church. When I came back, I came right back into what I knew God to be, the relationship I had with God. Well, all these giftings, and when I would meet you, I would just tell you all about you. I would just, the gift of wisdom, word of knowledge, and prophecy were my first. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm David. And then I would just go. I didn't know any better. I didn't even have balance back then. So this one guy, one day, and mind you, I'm 19 years old. And so we're going to go to actually a musical. And so when we get to, it's only a couple blocks away. So it's a group of us young men that are going to this musical. And so, again, me coming back to God after, it might have been 3 or 4 or 5 months back into the church. And so we're walking on our way, and I pull the guy to the side, the young man. He was younger than me, so he might have been 17. And I start telling him what I saw and what I heard and all these different things. And so he looks at me, he said, "Are you a prophet?" Now, mind you, in that very second, now I'm 44. Bless you. I know I don't look that way. I'm 44. So this is when I was 19. So we're talking about 20-some years ago. So prophets you didn't have all these titles running around the church. I didn't know one prophet at all. Not to my knowledge, that I can remember said that they were a prophet. They were an evangelist, or they were a pastor, preacher, or a reverend. I didn't know any other type of titles like that, apostles, and we might have had 1 or 2, but I didn't know what that really meant. So when he looked at me and asked me and said, "Are you a prophet?" something now I know, looking back retrospectively, leaped like, oh my God, it called it forward. But because I was unsure, I didn't even know how to take that, I immediately, as church folk do, rebuked. Oh no, no. Yes, you are. You are a prophet. You are a prophet. Now, some of it was ego. Let's just go ahead and let's tell the truth. Some of it was ego because I wasn't sure. Like, it confused me more than it made me aware. It was like, prophet? What? Huh? Who said? Hey, Mother Hall, who? Prophet? How? Who? It. And so I went on because it threw me off. I couldn't even say anything else. I couldn't enjoy the musical. When we left the musical, they wanted to go out to eat, and I'm going home because I just could not get my bearings when he said prophet. And so that was a Saturday night. That Sunday, I came to church and I saw my first lady, who was my mentor, and her assistant. They were sitting in the office, and so I go to them and I said, I tell him what happened. I'm like, why would he say, what? How? Because at that moment, I didn't even know what prophet would be. Like, what does that mean? What do they do? Who are they? And I was completely, if you really want to say it, I was oblivious to prophet. And when I looked at them and asked them, said, what, he called me a prophet, and I didn't. They looked at me and they asked me. It was like, okay, so what was actually the problem? Why would he call me a prophet? And so my auntie looked at me and said, "You don't know who you are," which immediately one caused embarrassment, but then also was like, one, no. Two would be no. I guess I don't, because what is prophet? What does that mean to me? Now, I could have told you at that time, again, fully acquainted with the Bible, been and read the Bible back and forth all my life, but I still did not have the articulation to say who I am, what I was to the kingdom, what I brought, why am I on earth? And so the first thing I did was, and I got this from my mother, was I started to study. I went to research. I pulled up I started with what I did know. I knew that there were prophets in the Bible. And so I want to encourage you, when you find out who you are, what your gifting is to go back and do research. That is the very first thing. Start studying. Start with what you do know. Maybe you don't know all the things and know how it's applicable and know your place in it, but let's start out with what you do know. You do have some type of mental association with who you are. How are you feeling? And so I went back to the Bible, and I started with Elijah and started with Moses and some of the old patriots. And so I started with my research. So if you have the gift of helps, where did you find the gift of helps? Go in the Bible. In Acts, there are two that helped Paul, that he talks about in ministry. What did they do? Who are they like? Rhoda, and find all these people. Find who they are. Research who they are, so you can find out who you are. So you can have a base understanding of what you bring to the table. But not only that, when I went, I studied not just who they are, I studied their characters. So I needed to know, and some of us will know kind of overarching, like Isaiah was the eagle-eyed prophet, and Jeremiah was the weeping prophet, and Jonah was the disobedient prophet. So there, even within your gift, there are separations of styles. There are separations of purposes, separations of how it manifests. Okay? And so once I started studying that, I tried to see who was I most like. What did I agree with in character, and what was totally not me? John the Baptist, and like prophets are weird, and they do weird things. They hang out in weird places, and they eat weird things, and they dress weird. And so some of this, if you know that your culture, because that's what giftings are. They go into culture. So singers, they have a certain style, or they have a certain way of doing things, or they have a certain ear, or they have certain proneness to this, or doctors, those who practice medicine, they have a certain thing that catches their eye, that their ear is bent towards a certain way. When you find out what your gifting area is, what you are associated with, what your passion is, you know then why you behave the way you behave. Why you use those who are in social justice, when you see something on TV, you just get irate and get mad, and they have to almost drag you out of a place when you see somebody tell off something, because customer service, because you have the spirit of hospitality. And so when you see somebody being inhospitable, it causes a dissonance in your spirit, because your gift says no, no, no. Or when you are a teacher and you hear erroneous doctrine, it should cause your spirit to rise up and say, no, no, no. There should be a trigger. But that is also emotional intelligence. That's the same thing that we tell people over and my doctorate is in organizational psychology, human and organizational psychology. So part of it is organizations and how people are wired and how they work together best, and the psychological aspect of organizations. And so when you have high emotional intelligence, you are aware of yourself and how you interact to others and what triggers you to act in a certain mood and act in a certain way. Well, it's the same thing about gifting spiritual emotional intelligence or spiritual intelligence, knowing that when you hear that you're a nurse, and that's what you like to do, which is a part of, again, of the medical arena. But then when you see the mishandlings or you see a need, why is no one helping? Why you become frustrated? Well, if you can acknowledge that that's your gifting, that's who you are, and get in your place, then you know how to, your behavior, to how to modify that, how to know that if I see it, I know I'm going to have it. So let me just come with the things that I need, so that if I have to do it, I'm always ready to serve. I'm always ready to do, so I don't have to count on, even if it's not my church or it's not my place or I'm in public, I can do the things that are necessary to be done so that I can live and sleep well at night. Because a lot of times we have restless sleep because we have not satisfied the day's command. I'll say that again, because that was good. A lot of times we can't sleep at night because we've not satisfied the day's command. The things that we should have done, the opportunities that we did miss, the things that we should have said. If you have a gift of exhorting, that's an encouraging, that's someone that tells you, that goes out and tells you, let's do this, let's go this way, you can do it, you can, come on, let's go. And you miss that opportunity to stand even in the face of adversity. So the gift of exhorting is not just somebody who's behind a mic telling you, come on, lift your hands, let's praise God. The gift of exhorting beyond the church, which most gifts should be for beyond the church, is the person that goes out into the marketplace and starts a picket line, and is the person that gets everybody together and exhorts them to say, hey, we're going to make sure that they treat us fairly. They're going to do, the person with the gift of exhorting is usually the picket leader. And they depend on the person that has the gift of administration to organize. And the prophet says to those who are in power, you're going to do right. And until you do right, never you do. Will be right by me. But these are gifts that we have act like they only belong inside of First Presbyterian Missionary Church of God in Christ Baptist. That only the church can use it, or you can be only under the Spirit influence. No, come out the Spirit. Come on. Bring you in your gift out that Spirit, and come on. And usually it's not even the Spirit, it's out of that emotional and out of that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not telling you not to go forth and do all that, but know what you're talking about. That doesn't necessitate that that's the Spirit of God moving. That could be your emotions manifesting from a spirit, the Spirit or a Spirit moving. Okay? That could be your response to it. That's a bodily response to the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God doesn't need you to fall out to work. The Spirit of God doesn't need you to speak in tongues and foam to work. He can work without you even lifting your hands. I have to get my own water. Yes, he can work without doing that. Now, if you like this, share this, because I think that we all need to be able to get some good perspectives about what we do and why we do. But know what your spirit or what your gifting is. Know its highs and its lows. We can see through, and I have to use prophets because that's what I've studied. It makes sense. Know that we watched Elijah, once he's done a great work, he had a whole low back where he's back in a cave. There so long that God allows a web to be. Right, there's several parts to why that web was there, but he was back, and God had to go, why are you back here? And then he didn't have self-esteem. The same God that he called on to pour down fire and burn up all these the altar and the water and kill all of the prophets of Baal, he couldn't trust that same God to protect him from one woman. Know the highs and lows. As a musician, as a minstrel, Maria, you got to know what does that do? What is the calibration that you have to keep, the mindset that you have to keep, the environment you must stay around. Your environment is very indicative and telling of the fruition of your gift, the growing and the maturation of your gift, the allowance of your gift, how you allow your gift to be abused or used, how you allow it to excel or deteriorate. Your environment. What are you allowing yourself to be around? What are you allowing your gift to feed off of? Because gifts are placed in your hand. Gifts are placed within you, but you are the steward over your gift. Your gift is not good nor bad by itself. And I want to even challenge the thought that it's about the source. Unless you're talking about yourself as the source, because you are the controller that will connect to whatever source. You are the controller. Scripture will even align with it. When he gave the gifts to the servants, he didn't come back and micromanage them. He didn't come back or watch over them and lord over them as they. No, he came back and asked for accountability. He came back and asked, so what did you do? Show me what you did. It was your job to go and use your gift beyond the church. Prophecy does not have to stand there and say, thus saith the Lord. I usually hate it. I hear God saying, a lot of that time, that's just, and a lot of people don't even know why that format is even written in the Bible. Why? That's because there were competitors to Jehovah's prophets. There was many type of prophets in the Bible, in the Old Testament. You just haven't studied long enough to know that every nation had their own set of prophets. So the reason that they stood and said, thus saith the Lord, or thus said Jehovah God, was actually because they were identifying, I'm from Jehovah's tribe. I'm from Israel. And I'm speaking on behalf of this God. Not because it was a churchy thing to do, as we do today. I don't need all of that format. Tell me, and let my spirit hear. Okay? So, not knowing who you are is first a problem, because then you don't know how to steward. Then you don't know why things happen to you, or why, you every time you get through ministering in song, you feel hoarse, but you don't know that you need to do vocal rest. See, these are preparation. If a singer is yelling all day and then try and go out and sing, that's a problem. But until they acknowledge I'm a singer and I'm going to have to be responsible and accountable for my voice, they'll keep making the same mistakes and getting the same results, and then acting like it's a devil attacking them. It's not. It's your failure to prepare either before or post, after. Because sometimes the battle is after. If you know that you have to minister and that you don't take 5 engagements or have 5 things after you get through, you go somewhere and lay down. Or if you know that you have a long shift, don't you prepare for it? It's the same thing across the whole board. Know the highs, know the lows. But also, when you study in the Bible, learn the humanity. Learn that there were some ego problems and there were some low self-esteem with some of these greatest people that we knew. Moses had a esteem problem. Because of an impediment, he thought of himself less in the face of the person that called him to do it and said, I will go with you. He still was like, I need something else. Inasmuch that God, it would seem, according to the narrative we read, changed and said, well, then take Aaron. Because that wasn't the original plan. Wasn't the original plan. But because of his incessant doubt of his own self and doubt of the one who called him, God allowed a change and an augment to the plan. What have you augmented that God perfectly designed for you to do? Who have you attached to and said, I need this crutch? After God said everything you need is in your hand. I like that. Now that was for church and I liked it. What have you, who else have you gravitated to as a codependent? When God said everything you need, I had already put in your hand. What's in your hand, Moses? What are you doing? What is the gift that's I've already embedded in you? You are enough. You have everything you need. You are fully equipped. And sometimes you got to get up every day and look in the mirror and say the same thing. Write it on the mirror. Make enough space so your face will be right when you get through doing whatever you got to do to your face. But write it. And you're going to have to keep on saying it. And sometimes you get in a situation you got to keep saying it. And then surround yourself around people who have like-mindedness. Surround yourself with people who are going to affirm you as well. Right? Don't get around, now we all have people, but you can't have a whole colony of Doubting Thomases that think you're going to have faith. All of your inner circle can't be people who like to smoke weed and you want to get off of weed. And I'm not telling you it's wrong or right. I'm just giving you examples. Right? Everybody can't be mad about their job and you got joy going to it. And that's all you hang around is people who talk about everybody in the department. Pick your environment. And it may be lonely for a while, but I promise you, you'll have help. Everybody. Even we can look at that psychological problem that Elijah had, where he said, I'm the only one left. I said, please, you ain't all that. I got 144,000 that ain't bowed. You are not alone. You chose to be alone. You chose to be psychotic and narcissistic and think that you're the only one because you called fire down from heaven and you did it all by yourself. So that same ego that's founded in low self-esteem manifests in overachieving and an inflated ego. I'm the only one. You not alone. But if you don't allow your mind to go there, it'll take you there. It'll take you into false realities. It'll take you into places that's not reasonable. Am I doing all right? Is this all right for anybody? Anybody enjoying this? Let me know. Let me know. And share it. Like and share. And tag some people. They need to know this. Because this is a year. Listen, let me tell you what is happening in the spirit realm, in the earth. And it's so wonderful that we are on a rebound. We're on a resilience. Those who know, thank you. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. Those who are in the know, those who can see and hear what is happening, is that this is the time that businesses are being birthed. Entrepreneurship is at an all-time high. That what you are thought of, you can find manifestation. There is money that is being passed out, but you please manage the money. Money is being, if you're getting the PPE, the EIDL, the stimulus, all these things, don't take it and just buy new shoes. Invest in what God has given you, in the vision, in the plan. Invest. Find somebody who knows how to write business plans and write grant proposals and do feasibility studies and do all those things. This is your time. This is the time for us, God's children, to excel. Don't miss this window of opportunity. Open your eyes. We had to have this setback from 2020 so that we can be propelled in 2021. We had to have this dismantling in 2020 so that we could be made into the structure that can handle what God has put in us as vessels. Do not miss this prophetic time, this year that seems like we're still trying to get it together, but God is making, listen, and if you look at history, it always comes. But again, the promise of Israel was that every 12 years, the year of Jubilee will come. Why would you not think he wouldn't promise to us that ever so often, even when depression happens, the disenfranchised excelled? Look and open your eyes and see. And even if it's not for you, find somebody else. Join with somebody else. Promote somebody else. Push somebody else. Because when one wins, we all win. Okay? So I'm here again just to compare, to encourage you. I was reading my notes, sorry. To encourage you to be able to understand the signs of the time. And please, ma'am, please, sir, we have tied ourselves to a church building, and I'm not talking about a church work, because most of us, when we talk about church work, we're talking about church dinners, and we're talking about church functions, and we're talking about musicals, and we're talking about church recordings, and all that is wonderful. But the work of the church and the kingdom building of the church is outside of four walls. When they won souls, they didn't win souls inside of the kingdom, inside of the building. They went out and brought them. Add to the church, such as shall be saved. But we swap. That's all we do. We're not doing no real. We swapping. Huh? I'll come to your meeting, you come back to my meeting. This is foolishness. I don't care. And I love it. I was raised with it. I don't have a problem in as much as being able to appreciate one and appreciate another. But when you have a whole life built around it and you're not doing any work outside of four walls, your work, we've reduced the mission of the church to a ministry within the church. The church's ministry is to do mission. And now we have a mission department. Now, how that happened? Let's think about that. God called us to do missionary work. Go out, convert, baptize. That's the mission, the Great Commission, which is a mission. We have reduced it down to the missions department. That's just like going, and I use this analogy because I like it. That's just like going into Neiman Marcus and all you see around is JCPenney stuff and H&M stuff, and then they got a wall with Neiman Marcus stuff. But the store is called Neiman Marcus, but they got just one wall. Backwards, foolish, crazy. But that's what we've made of the church. I don't care. Argue with me. Fight me. As they say, hashtag, fight me. It's fine. But you got to know who you are so you can connect with like-minded people. How do you connect with like-minded people if you can't acknowledge or you don't know what your gifting is? And there are certain people who actually, they believe they're gifted in one area, but may not be sure, or sometimes they're just wrong. I have even taken several tests. There are tests out there that actually help you, guide you. Now, even when I do life coaching or executive coaching, there's always a battery of tests, because the first thing we need to be aware of is what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and what does that suggest, right? So I've often been mad at my spiritual assessment tests because they always give me what I don't want sometimes. Well, in times past, they would say, and they will always agree if you take them honestly. And if you take them with transparency, and if you really want to know, if you don't know of any, hit me up or put it in the comments that please put the link here, and I'll do so. There's a couple of them that are really, really good. You can actually just Google, but I always do it even if I'm talking during spiritual counseling or coaching or any of that. I also do it coupled with emotional intelligence test or your personality test. I'll do that too, because we are one holistic person. Our spiritual does not overtake our natural person. The gift is sitting inside of a natural body. The gift is housed inside of a natural body. So whatever I do naturally affects my gift, or my gift affects what I do naturally. They work hand in hand. So to know my spiritual assessment is going to actually mirror my natural propensity and assessment and characteristic. They're going to work, they're going to be harmonious. They're not going to be separate. You're not two people or three people walking around. You are one person. You may have different personalities and different sides of you, and we call those defects and disorders. But it may happen, but then we got something different. That's not normal. That's anormal or abnormal in layman terms, okay? So tonight, I just wanted to come on. I wanted this lesson to be a time where we really talk about knowing who you are. And I use, of course, my protocol that I use, example, is prophet. But across whatever your gift is, gift of helps, gift of healing, gift of miracles, if it's the gift of social justice, it's the gift of medicinal help, helping people, aiding people, administration is a gift of rulings, whatever your gift is. And please be aware that just because you've not heard of a gift doesn't mean it's not a gift. Okay? Now, you may call it something different. Maybe it's not categorized because everybody didn't grow up churchy. But whatever your gift is, I encourage you, find out who you are, and then study, research. What are the highs and lows of your gift? What are the things to look out for? What are the things that come easily to you? How can you use your gift as an asset for you? Okay, how do you guard yourself from abuse, whether internal or external? Because the gift of helps, I always say, is probably one of the most abused gifts, because the person usually doesn't know that they need to learn how to exercise temperance, temperance, exercise temperance. Now, mostly all these gifts need to have some temperance on it. So, fruit of the spirit, you need temperance. But then, in prophecy, patience. In ministry, patience. You need to know that these are some of the detractions, or that in pastorship, that burnout is so very. You need to learn how to temper that. How do you guard yourself from that? We've had higher suicide rates from pastors over the last 7 to 10 years recorded, but some of us are committing slow suicide. So no, we didn't go and just blow the brains out or hang ourselves, or however the quicker suicides. We let heart disease. We let stress. Okay? But I want you to be encouraged. And I want you to find who you are. And don't let anybody else identify you before you can affirm its identification. Know who you are for you. And I'm not telling you because you have mentors that see things in you and call it out. I'm not talking about that part. But I'm talking about, don't let them define your gift. Because some tell you that you're a singer and you are a soprano. But you know that you may be able to hit some of the notes, but you're really an alto, and it makes you uncomfortable. Don't make them force you over there. Now, if you're being lazy, that's one thing. But I'm talking about, make sure you know who you are. Know who you are. Don't be scared of you. You're more powerful than you think. Embrace you. All of you. Your differentness is your uniqueness. There is not one person that has been successful, that has made a good name for themselves, has been famous, being just like everybody else. There was something unique about them. And a lot of times the uniqueness caused them more damage at the beginning than the end. In other words, if they were trying to understand why they were different. Patti LaBelle kept getting put out of stuff as a child because her voice was so unique and loud. But it's that same thing that we love and treasure today. But she had to learn to embrace it. If she had let it ruin her and not surrounded her with people who believed in her and seen a psychiatrist, therapist, see a therapist. Beloved, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And you don't wait till you're down in the dumps to go see them. Sometimes they can stop you from going down that path if you just go see them. There's nothing wrong with seeing. The Bible says in the multitude of counselors, which counselors are the same thing. You didn't know the Bible promoted mental health, did you? But it does. Mental health. You need to see somebody. And it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It actually means that you got a good sense on your shoulders that we didn't have to tie you down and make you see a counselor if you can just go yourself. It means you got good sense and you like yourself. You want yourself to be, because we all have stress, we all have problems, and they can give you good stress therapy, give you give you how to deal with some things, give you another insight, help you see it from the glass is half full side, because sometimes you need a nudge to help see you. Or help see what's the real problem. Because you only want to deal with the symptoms and not the problem. That's enough, because I'm getting happy. And I'll keep on going. Meet me here next week. Please like and share this. Will y'all do that for me? Will y'all like this and share this? Like it. It's something else. It's like, comment, and share. Yes. Even if after this, those who are watching this now live, but those when it's thank you, Peaches. I gotta get me a new one. Every therapist needs a therapist. Okay, you go see them. If you get EEOC or some of those things that the job allows, something's better than nothing. Go see them. Next week I'll be back. Comment, like, and share. Thank you all. I'm just trying to do what God has commissioned me to do, what the universe is calling me to do. And we've got the universe. His name is Jesus. I'm still, hey, yes, listen, I'm happy you got the universe. I'm glad I got the one that created the universe, okay? So like this, comment, share this. It's all good. I thank God for everybody. Pray for me as I pray for you. Send positive energy my way. I'll send positive energy your way. Yeah, Marika. It's still Jesus. And I know, he is, he's ungendered. The Spirit of God is without gender. But the recordings of him on earth was Jesus. So his name is Jesus. I make no apologies for it. So I'm getting out of here. As I take my fourth closing, as a true preacher that I am. Pray for Kojic as they're going through their voting. I'm grateful.